All right, y'all. So I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with the passage where Jesus says all things are possible to him that believe. I want to really, really quick explain why the all things part, the all things are possible to him that believe. All things. The all things part is what I want to focus on. Why are all things? Right? Not just some things or a few things, but all things. Because there is an inexhaustible, unlimited substance. There's an unexhaustible, you can't exhaust it, right? There's an invisible resource that cannot be exhausted, and it cannot be completely used up, cannot be finished, cannot be brought to zero, net zero. It's this unlimited resource is called divine substance. From a theological, the theologians call it divine substance. Now, if you go into the scientific community and you speak to the Max Plancks, the Thomas Youngs, the Niels Bohr, and the Einsteins, they call it the ether. So if you go into the contemporary science, they call it technology. Right. They would call it, if you go into the scientific computer engineering world, they would call it, they would call it technology. Right. They call it technology. So depending on which branch of science you're dealing with, if you're dealing with it from a theological standpoint, it's divine substance. If you go to a specific a scientific community, again, the Einsteins of the world, the Max Plancks of the world, the Niels Bohr, they would call it the ether, ether. And if you go into the computer engineers, they would call it technology. That's pretty much. So depending on who you talk to, they have different names for it. But from my perspective, being from a school of philosophy and theology, I subscribe to the ether. Scientifically, I do believe I subscribe to, but I fundamentally subscribe to divine substance. Divine substance is why all things are possible. When we come to the realization of divine substance, scientifically ether, when you come to the realization of what this divine invisible substance is, and that there is that when you come to the realization, then you understand. Realization first, then comes understanding, right? That there is no lack, loss, or limitation. There is no lack, there is no loss, and there is no limitation in your life. There can be no lack in your life, there can be no loss in your life, and there can be no limitations in your life when one has truly grasped this realization, when one has truly come into the realization of divine substance. Divine substance permeates, it's pervasive, it's all over, it permeates all and everything. That's why all things are possible, because all things are made by divine substance. All things are made by divine substance. Paul says that the things that are made were not made by things. I'm paraphrasing. The things that we see that are made were not made by things. Philosophical, very deep. Let that sink in. So all that you see were not made by material. Again, everything that we can see, feel, touch, taste, everything, all things were not made by materials. And I know that sounds a little perplexing, but if you really grasp the concept of what I'm talking about, you'll understand. Nothing that you see is made by things that are seen. That's what Paul says in the Bible, and that is evidenced by the scientific community when you understand what is the ether, right? Because out of the ether you get what's called Ethernet or internet, right? And this is why I say they call it technology in the computer world, right? Because it is this ether, divine substance, that is used to make Wi-Fi, to make the technology of Wi-Fi, to manufacture the technology of internet, the technology of email, the technology of texting, the technology of using this video and videoing my voice on this phone, right? So this divine substance, which is invisible, is behind the reality of things seen. And because this is divine substance, of which there is no beginning and there is no end, therefore there is no lack, there is no loss, there is no limitation. I could go on forever, but I gotta run. Till next time. Peace.